within, they hold me tight. In the dark, I lose my fight.
Chapter 13. A Soft Knock. Cynthia had never felt better in her life. The change inside her was undeniable, like her soul had finally exhaled after years of holding its breath. She had lived much of her life believing she was abandoned, pushed aside, forgotten. But something had shifted. She saw the truth now. She hadn't been abandoned by everyone, just by the wrong people. The ones who truly loved her had never left. And that realization made her glow. Finding Michael's note tucked inside the ring box had only elevated her to a whole new level of peace and clarity. The words he wrote, how long he'd loved her, how long he'd waited, rocked her to her core. He had the ring before Johnny was even born. She had been his forever, even when she didn't see it, even when she didn't believe she was lovable. She regretted how much of her life she had spent in anger and confusion. There had been times she was on a dangerous path, a road that mirrored Carla's in all the worst ways. And that scared her more than anything. She had already started to notice herself treating Kellyanne in ways that reminded her of her own mother, short, sharp, critical. But she wasn't going to be Carla. She wasn't going to be another wound in her daughter's story. She was going to be like her adoptive parents. They had given her something so simple and powerful, freedom to fail and still be loved. They let her learn from her mistakes. They made her feel wanted. That kind of love shaped her in ways she only now fully understood. She was so blessed, truly blessed, to have these people in her life, even David. He was a different kind of parent, not quite like her adoptive mom and dad, but still constant, still good. She looked forward to telling him everything that had happened. The proposal, the joy, the feeling of finally becoming the woman she was always meant to be. But he hadn't answered any of her messages, not one, and that was unusual. She hoped he wasn't upset with her. Maybe it was just everything going on with his wife, her mother, Carla. He'd always had a lot to carry. She'd just have to let it go for now and be patient. Strangely, she even started enjoying things she once rolled her eyes at. Cleaning, folding clothes, cooking. She used to frown on those things, say they were beneath her or that they didn't matter. Now? She felt proud when Michael walked in and the house was warm, peaceful, and smelled like a real meal. If someone had told her 5 years ago she'd be making steak and potatoes with roasted vegetables, she would have laughed in their face, called them a liar. But here she was. Michael came home that evening, exhausted but smiling the second he smelled the food. He devoured every bite like it was a 5-star meal. Even the kids cleaned their plates, which was rare. It was a special night, not because of the food, but because of the energy in the room. Cynthia was glowing. Her joy filled the space. After dinner, she and Kellyanne did the dishes together. Michael excused himself early to get some rest. He had to be up at dawn to return to the shop. Cynthia hummed while rinsing plates, completely content, feeling strong enough to take on the world. And then she got the text. Her phone buzzed softly against the counter. When she saw who it was from, her heart tightened. She hadn't spoken to her mother in a long time, not since she met Michael, really, when they got serious. But now, here it was, a message from Carla. Cynthia hesitated before opening it. She felt strange reading it, but she also knew she'd have to read it eventually. Best to get it over with now, while Kellyanne was upstairs and couldn't see. The message read, "Hi, Cynthia. I know it's been a while since I talked to you, but I've been thinking a lot lately. I know I failed you, pushed you away when you needed me. I understand it might take time to heal these wounds, to build trust, if it can be built, but I'm here trying. If we have to start slow, I accept that. I'd really like to talk to you tonight. I'm at the Grandel Hotel, room 206. Your sister Elizabeth came over. She's very tired after a long day working as a nurse, and she's pregnant. I didn't want to alert her husband, Evan, about where she was as to not cause her issues. Could you come and follow her home to make sure she is safe? Carla sent a picture. The image followed. Elizabeth lay in the hotel bed, tucked up to her neck, seemingly asleep. The lighting was poor, and the photo looked strangely filtered, almost like Carla had edited it to make Elizabeth look more peaceful than she actually was. Cynthia frowned. Carla and her filters, always using them to hide something, her face, her truth, her intentions. Cynthia blinked. Elizabeth was pregnant? A rush of guilt hit her. She hadn't kept in touch like she should have. She pushed people away during her darkest times, even people who didn't deserve it. But she felt something stir inside her. A chance, maybe, a tiny one. Not for full reconciliation with her mother, but for Elizabeth. She could be part of her life again. And maybe, if Carla truly wanted change, that could come in time too. Cynthia didn't know if she believed it deep down. She'd be honest with her mother. She was there to take Elizabeth home. If they were going to rebuild anything, it would take time, patience, boundaries. After deciding she was going to confront her mother, Cynthia quietly made her way up to her and Michael's bedroom. She opened the door gently, only to find him already asleep. The day must have really worn him out. His chest rose and fell in a peaceful rhythm. One arm sprawled across the pillow where she slept. She smiled softly. Maybe it was for the best. No need to stir him for what she hoped would be a short, simple errand. "I'll just pick up Elizabeth," she whispered to herself. "Maybe a small chat. Then home." She grabbed her phone and left him a quick message. "Hey, love, I'm heading to the Grandel Hotel, room 206. Carla texted me. Elizabeth's apparently there and really tired, pregnant too. I'm just gonna chat briefly and help Beth home. Be back soon. Love you." Before she left, she peeked into each of the kids' rooms. Stephen and Johnny were tangled in their blankets like tiny warriors after battle. Kellyanne was tucked in and clutching her stuffed cat, the one she insisted she was too old for but still couldn't sleep without. Cynthia smiled again, this time with pride. Her family was safe, warm, whole. Then she sent the text to her mother. "I'll be there in 20 minutes, just taking Elizabeth home, maybe a small chat." Seconds later, Carla replied with a message, "See you soon." The drive was quiet. It was dark out and the roads felt lonelier than usual. She passed a diner she used to frequent in harder times, now dark and shuttered. Her fingers tapped the steering wheel. She parked under a flickering streetlight. One of the bulbs buzzed, too fast, too loud. She checked the room number again, heart thudding just a little harder. Still, she told herself not to be ridiculous. She'd been in plenty of shady places before, especially during harder times. She knew how to handle herself. The parking lot was mostly empty. She walked briskly across it, arms folded against the breeze. Room 206 was on the second floor. She spotted it quickly, her steps cautious now. She reached the door and hesitated just once before knocking softly. A long pause. Too long. Then the door suddenly swung open, fast, jarring. And to her surprise, it wasn't Carla. Her breath caught. A man stood there, not old, not young. Her first instinct was that she had the wrong door, but his face was mostly covered by a black mask. "I'm sorry," she started to say, stepping back, when she saw his eyes, only focus and intent. Before she could take another step, he lunged, strong, tight hands wrapped around her face, and something soft, a towel, pressed hard against her mouth. She thrashed, but he was pulling her in, dragging her through the doorway. Her feet scraped the carpet. Her fingers clawed at air. She felt a sharp jerk in her neck as she was hauled across the threshold. Pain flared through her shoulder and spine, but he didn't stop. He shoved the door shut behind them with a loud thud. She hit the ground with a muffled gasp. The scent of chemicals filled her nostrils, sharp, burning, dizzying. "I'm sorry about that," the man said calmly, like it was just business. I had to get you inside as fast as possible. Don't want anyone noticing us." She tried to scream. She couldn't. Her limbs felt like they were turning to cement. Her eyes blinked rapidly, trying to make sense of the shadows around her, trying to find Elizabeth. The bed from the photo. Where was it? Her mind raced to her kids, to Michael, to Kellyanne's hand in the sink, passing her rinsed dishes just an hour ago. She tried to push herself up, but her body wouldn't respond. The man crouched beside her again. She tried to spit at him, fight, anything, but he pressed the towel to her face again, firmly, methodically, cutting off air, cutting off resistance. The last thing she thought was, her mother's voice had always come at a cost. And then, darkness.
He wore a mask made out of charm, with hands too calm to trust. The hallway swallowed every light and left my instincts in the dust. The truth was dressed in denim, the warning sewn in seams. Even angels closed their eyes inside a stranger's dream. The dark still knows I'm here. Not twice, if you've buried all your fear. There's a thread that pulls too tight from the hallway into night, and it's tied around the things I held dear. Knock once and disappear. Do you hear that? Soft as mercy, cold as sin. I was taught to never flinch, but something's trying to